I mean, they definitely created this video series just to cheat.
It's something you have to, you put your tinfoil cap on and you go, okay, they're the smartest people in the history of football. That is just understood. Ernie Adams is this mythological creature that has this massive brain, Rain Man-like tendencies, they say. If he can see what the signals are, he can dissect them very quickly, memorize them, and then he puts on cards what plays are for the team in practice, right? So that's why you go, Spygate was an issue, especially when you have a weapon like Ernie Adams. Now, granted, if Ernie Adams was going as an advanced scout, which his job is to go to the team they're about to play and check out tendencies and things they're potentially doing, formations and stuff like that, maybe even ceasing. If he was just doing it without the use of cameras, without the use of anything like that, good on you. Everybody would say good on you. Now, when you add in cameras for the chance to potentially watch these back and study them and dissect them, that's where the problem is, which, first of all, that's why people think this is a big problem, as everybody knows.
Pat, what do you think about Belichick saying specifically in his quote, "We do not knowingly and intentionally want to do anything that is across the line"? Like, why do you got to throw in the words knowingly and intentionally there? How about we just don't want to do anything that crosses the line?
Well, because, now, for instance, they've done things with formations that are like rule bending. You know what I mean? So I think what they're saying is they want to take advantage of every letter of the law, and I don't think they intentionally break it. But, boy, this one here makes you question, especially when you go back. If what Warren Sharp said was true, which I would assume it is, he's like a nerd. That's what Warren Sharp is. Analysis and trends and everything like that. He's a nerd person. So I don't think he would get on a show, nationally syndicated, pretty large, and just completely lie. What he said was, in the past, they already had built-in excuses ready for them, which the guy said, oh, this is for a documentary series. They had shots of the sideline, then shots of other things. Boom, that's what they did here. I mean, it's all kind of reminiscent of the glory days when we could potentially be hitting a little bit of a downfall. And as a fan of the Patriots, and as a fan of success, and a fan of winning, this would be heartbreaking if this is what was happening yet again for the Patriots. And, boy, that asterisk, which a lot of people have next to the Patriots, is only going to get bigger from this. And if you're a Patriots fan, you're like, you know what? We do what we have to do to win, but even this is crossing the line, I'd assume.
I mean, it's tough.
It's the same thing that was happening before. Optically, they have to know. It doesn't matter if you work for Kraft Productions. It doesn't matter if you work for Macaroni, Pastaroni Production. It doesn't matter what you work for. You just have to know optically, like, this is going to be a bad thing.
See, and that's why I don't know why that's what they use as the excuse, because, like, a lot of teams, like, if you follow them on Twitter or Instagram, like, they do have these, like, kind of behind-the-scenes looks, like, with their content team. But when you go out and say, like, oh, this is actually a private entity that Mr. Kraft has us filming, it's like, that, I don't think that's as good of an excuse. I think that actually makes people look at it like, well, wait a minute, then what are they doing in press boxes filming stuff?
Hey.
Robert's never done anything wrong. He's a stand-up guy, so I believe if he says...
Who are you talking about?
The last tug.
Huh?
No.
I think
Bob
they should
Kraft.
be definitely kicked out of the playoffs. Bills should win the AFC East, and then just whoever the two wildcard teams are the two wildcard teams.
That doesn't sound
Huh?
ridiculous at all.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean,
Cincinnati.
look how low you guys have stooped that you have to do this for Cincinnati.
Oh, come on.
You would assume you'd do that for...
Every team.
That's the thought.
Well, maybe
like, yeah, it's Cincinnati. It came out here. Just like in the Deflategate game, you beat us by 50. But if you're other games that you're probably doing this in, that's what everybody was saying. Deflategate, by the way, I've said numerous times, it wouldn't have helped us. We lost by 700 that day. Yeah. But what everybody in the game, or the people that got upset, were like, well, if they're doing in this game where they won by 50, let's assume they were doing in other games like the Ravens, which they played the week before and only won by like 7. Let's assume that was happening. That's what if this, then this. So if they're doing it for the Bengals, let's assume they're also doing it, blah, 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 which, by the way, hasn't been working.
Yeah.
This year for the offense. Has not been working. So has Ernie Adams lost it then? That's something we got to think about.
And it's a great organization. So you would think, hey, maybe they're not even thinking about 2019. Maybe they're worried about Joe Burrow next year. Okay? Maybe they're scouting that far ahead for the season.
What's Belichick's calling card? Situational football. If he can find out what these coaches and coordinators like to do in specific situations, it's a big advantage.
Take away all Super Bowls.
Fuel to the fire. Fuel to the fire.
Yeah, and the fire was the first Spygate where you guys lit all the tapes on fire. That is this one. How about the Bengals being like, yeah, we'll give it over to you. Let's rip First of all, so
Yeah.
we'll rip exactly what it is, so we can't say, "Oh, we never got to see the footage." Somebody on Twitter said Zach Kiefer, who writes for the Athletic here in Indianapolis, Indiana, good writer. He said that on that footage is 8 straight minutes of just shots of signals and such like that. That's what he said on Twitter. We do not know if any of this is verified. There's going to be a lot of hearsay, but boy, the hearsay looks bad for the New England Patriots.
Heard that.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Well, you were on the Cincinnati a week ago. We're on to Cincinnati. We already got their signals.